The new NBC Wall Street Journal poll finds that Democrats have their largest lead over Republicans since 2009 on who best can handle the economy. 35% pick the Democrats, 30% say it is the Republicans. That's a 6-point reversal from June. But in the same poll, 40% say President Trump has made the economy better. 21% say worse. 35% say there's not much difference. The White House naturally giving President credit for the recent stock market rallies. Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders posting a story on gains and tweeting, quote, "Amazing what happens when you put a businessman instead of a liberal politician in the White House." But our own Steve Rattner crunched the numbers and found the Dow in the first 11 months of the Obama administration grew by 29.9% and 25% under Trump. As for the S&P, by 36.9% in Obama's first 11 months and 18.4% in Trump's, Joe. So there you have it. There are the numbers. This is the core of President Trump's argument that the stock market's up, unemployment is down, and the economy's humming along.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I'm not really good with numbers, but it looks like Barack Obama almost did twice as well with the S&P. The performance almost doubled. I'm not really good at math, but I think 36.7% is almost twice as much as 18%, Mike Barnacle.
Yeah, and looking at, I'm not good at math either, Joe, but I'm buying into what you're saying. Look, Obama's first 2 years, I mean, we were digging ourselves, Noah, out of the worst economic situation since the Depression.
Yeah, I don't remember where the S&P was in 2008, but in early 2000, I don't. But I remember where the Dow was. It was in like 8,000s, low 8,000s. Yeah. So we're talking about relative gains here. We're nearing 25,000 Dow in the space of a decade. So I mean, that's something to crow about. But yes, relatively, Barack Obama did better because they had more room to grow.
Casey, politicians and presidents take credit for things like this. This is not a new phenomenon for Donald Trump, but it can be true that the economy is doing well, that the Dow is doing well, and that you are not single-handedly responsible over 11 months for turning it around.
I think that's right. I think the point about the President Obama having a giant hole to dig out of is a point that's well taken. I mean, because he increased by that percentage. Remember how bad things were when he came into office. Here's one thing I will say, though, about the economy and how people actually feel. I'm starting to wonder if the indicators that we rely on to tell us how well people are doing are starting to become outdated. I mean, the way people work in this economy is really changing. And a lot of these things we talk about, the stock market, the people who feel that, it's a increasingly smaller percentage of the voting public. And not everybody owns stocks. I mean, a lot of normal people do in their 401k plans, but a lot of people also don't. And a lot of people are working now, in an economy where they don't get these traditional benefits. And so I'm not sure that I can understand why there might be a disconnect between how people feel and what they're saying in the polls and these performance numbers.
Well, and Willie, I've been talking about how things were different in the 80s under Reagan than now. Another way they're different is you look at who's investing in the stock market. A lot fewer individuals, percentage-wise, and more institutional investors. So when the stock market explodes, mom and pop businesses on Main Street don't feel that. Maybe huge universities, state pension systems will feel more of an impact, but not the average voter on the street. And that's one reason why you'll see a disconnect between Americans who think the economy is getting better and the number of Americans who will credit Donald Trump or who will say they think he's doing a good job. Because right now, obviously, despite this strong economy, he still has the lowest approval ratings of any first-term president ever.
And also, Joe, quickly, the anger about wage inequity in this country. When people see on the news all the time about the stock market is booming, the greatest economy under Trump in years because of the percentage rise, but it doesn't benefit people, ordinary people, as much as it benefits everyone you just cited.
All right, Casey Hunt, thank you very much. We'll talk to you again soon. Still ahead this morning, House Democratic Caucus Chairman Joe Crowley says the GOP tax plan is a sham. House Freedom Caucus Chairman Mark Meadows says it will give Americans their money back. Who's right? We'll talk to both men coming up on Morning Joe.